Hey there, this is Parker with Radon Tech. Welcome to the new video series on Emergency Vehicle Creator version 3. In these first three videos, we will be going over the basics of how to use Emergency Vehicle Creator so you can create your first, emergency vehicle. In this specific video, we will be going over creating the vehicle itself, using an existing vehicle, or upgrading a vehicle from version 2 to version 3. So we will start with, of course, going over how to create a vehicle using Emergency Vehicle Creator, and then we will go over the basic functions setup and light settings. And then we will go over how to use an existing pre-outfitted vehicle, and then we will go over the version 2 to version 3 upgrade. So let's get into it. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you have the plugin installed. If you don't, you can install it from the Roblox creator page by clicking Get Plugin and then hit Try in Studio. And then you will be able to open up Studio and go to Plugins and click on EVC. Now, if this brings up the old version 2 menu, you will want to go to Tools, Manage Plugins, and hit Update All. Otherwise, you should be good to go if you get a menu similar to this. So to get started with creating a vehicle, you're going to want to hit, the Create Vehicle button, and then you will get a list of vehicles. As of the recording of this video, I only have one vehicle to demonstrate with, so I will be, of course, choosing the 2020 FPIU. You may get that pop-up for a second where it says, please wait while we load the vehicle, and then you will need to go ahead and move your mouse to the location that you want to spawn the vehicle in it. I'm going to spawn it in over here. And if you wanted to, you could hit cancel at the top to go back and choose a different vehicle or whatever you needed to do instead. And then when you place the vehicle, you will get something similar to this. So this is the basic vehicle configuration, the vehicle creator for EVC v3. And so you'll see there's a lot of these nodes, as I like to call them, around the vehicle in which you can click on and choose a piece of equipment and configure its options. Now, you'll also notice that there is basically some that go straight down the center and then some that may go off to the side. Most of the ones that go off to the side will have a mirror on the opposite side. And so those ones, when you click on one of them, it will actually open it up for both because that is configuring for both sides of the vehicle. So that's like, for example, we have our fog light flashers, wheel and vertexes, and the headlights here, or your side runners are all shared on both sides of the vehicle. So when you configure one, the other one will also be configured. So to actually configure equipment, you're going to choose the location you want. I'm going to start with the main light bar here on the top. And for this video, I'm going to use the Whelen Legacy. When you click on it, if the equipment has lights, you'll get this display with a ton of text all around the light bar. And this basically just represents what the light names are. So when you're in the plugin itself, you can use that to actually create your patterns. And then on the left here, after you click your equipment you want, which of course you can choose from the list, you will get a set of configuration options. For this specific light bar, I have the option to choose colored or not. And because it has lights, anything with lights, as a matter of fact, will have this light prefix section. And basically what you do is you enter a prefix you want. So for the light bar, you might choose LB. And basically what will happen is this will update all of the names of the lights to include that prefix. So now I have LB1 through 22, and then the LB takedowns 1 through 4, and our alleys, light bar right and light bar left. And so that can be used throughout the pattern creator to actually create your patterns. So I'm going to just use that light prefix. I will not be making the light bar colored. So I'll go ahead and click done now that I'm done with that. And I'm going to come down here to the front, the grill, because I want to choose a ram bar. In this specific case, I'm going to go ahead with the Satina PB400. And you'll notice this one has a lot more configuration options, including the light prefix at the bottom, even though there is no lights right now. Now that's because there are options with lights. We can see we can add ion lights, or even choose a wraparound with ion lights. In this case, I'm going to do the wraparound with ions in the RAM bar slash wrap, and I'm going to choose the prefix F for front, and you can see I get FR, F1, F2, and FL now. Now that's going to be the only lights, or actually, sorry, I am going to add the side blenders as well. And as you can see, I'm going to just stick with the 5 module, but if I wanted, I could have 1, 2, 3, and so on. I'm going to stick with 5 though, and I'm going to leave it with the default prefix. So that's everything I want to do for this vehicle, but if you wanted to, you could even add a outer edge system for the specific vehicle, and so on and so forth. I encourage you to check out all the different options and configurations on these vehicles, because the people who helped make these spend a lot of time on them, and so find all the different configurations you can make and go crazy with it. So that's basically all you need to know for the vehicle creator itself. It's not too complicated, but I still have to go over it just in case, because I know it can be a little confusing at first sight because you just get all of these options. So now we'll go ahead and take a look at the plugin itself of course, we can either go back to the main menu or hit continue. And this is our plugin itself. Of course, at the top here, we get our nav bar, along with the option to return to the customization and the option to export. So let's go over how to create functions and how to use them, how to modify them, those kinds of things. So the idea of a function is it's just a button on your keyboard or something that's used to trigger a pattern, basically. So in this specific case, by default, we get stages and traffic advisor, but if you wanted command lights, alley lights, cruise lights, takedowns, DVI, literally anything your mind can imagine, you can do it using functions. And so this is like the main focus point of the plugin itself. So there is a lot going on here, and I will try to explain it in the best way possible. But to get started, I am going to add a cruise light function so I can explain what other part of this. So obviously you have your names here, but on the left you may have noticed these numbers. These numbers indicate the weight or priority of that function. The higher the number, it will take over everything below that number. So as you can see, cruise lights being 3 will basically, if any pattern in this function is turned on, it will take dominance over these other functions' lights. So if they share the same lights, this function will beat out these ones in those lights. So for cruise specifically, I actually want them to be the lowest because my cruise lights I would like to have been taken over by the stages and traffic advisor if that becomes a problem. You can see there that it kind of got shuffled around. Not sure why that happened. There are still a couple bugs, of course, because this is still very early in development, even though it's been 2 months. Anyways, so I have my cruise lights, my stages, and my traffic advisor. So basically, if I have my cruise lights on and then I turn on stage 3 will take over the cruise lights, but if I turn on my traffic advisor will take over the back of the light bar from my stages, which sounds very complicated, but I'm sure you could understand it after a little bit of experimenting. And of course, if you need help, feel free to use the Discord. So we're going to go ahead and edit the cruise lights so I can configure how you turn it on. So the first thing you'll see is your patterns here. Now this will be going over in the next video, along with the sirens at the top. We'll be going over in the third video, but we're going to focus on the activation for now. Now this menu allows you to configure how you actually activate the function. So there are many different ways to activate a function. You can have a default state, an override, and a standard activation like I have right here right now. Now I'm actually going to start with a default because by default I want the cruise lights to be turned on. So I'm going to set it to 1 because by default I want the cruise lights to be in pattern 1, which is of course defined over here. This is pattern 1. So by default I want this pattern to be turned on. I'm also going to add a standard configuration because I would like the user to also be able to turn on and off cruise lights at their own will. So I'm going to set the keybind to you, and I'm going to set the second one to unknown, which is just saying that you should ignore the second one because there is no actual second configuration for this. But I could set it to any valid key code. So for controllers, I could set it to like a button X or the D-pad, or for your computer, I could set it to like right bracket or something else. Anything I wanted. You can have 2 keybinds for every activation, including for sirens. So that is how you set that up. So let's go and let's also add another activation to the stages. Now I want a keybind that will set the stages to pattern 3 at the push of a button. I'm going to make this the right bracket keybind, which you can see I inputted the right bracket and it automatically got converted into the right bracket because that is the actual way you should do it. But you can use any special character and it will automatically be converted for you. And again, I'm going to set the second one to unknown because I have no reason for that second keybind. So basically what I'm saying right now is I can have a user click the right bracket and immediately switch to stage 3. Or they can use J to manually get to stage 3. Now let's say I also want to add a park pattern. Now I can go in here, go to activation, override, and by default it's already in park, but I could do siren overrides, brakes, and reverses. For siren overrides, you get to select your siren here that you want to override. But in my case, I'm just going to leave it in park. And because I only want my park pattern to turn on when stages are on, I'm going to go ahead and configure that. That's a bug that will be fixed eventually. I will set this to stages. And then this fourth option right here, I'm going to use to set the dependent pattern as well. So basically what I'm saying is if the vehicle's in park and stages is greater than or equal to this pattern number, then I will turn on this pattern. And so I'm going to set this to 1, and you probably will want to do that too, because if you set it to 0, it's like saying if in park mode, turn on. Because setting it to 0, of course, the pattern will always be equal to or greater than 0. So I'm going to set it to 1, and that's basically all you need to know for functions. Now again, if you're confused about anything, you can ask in the comments or on Discord. And let's go over light settings. So basically, light settings are just a way to allow you to configure how you want your lights to look, including adding custom colors, which we'll go more over in the pattern video next video. So I can disable like the neon lights. I can disable LIDOs if I don't want LIDOs. I can disable ground emitters if I don't want ground emitters. And now you still had to set these up on your lights yourself, but you're basically telling the plugin, like, if I have LIDOs and light emitters, and I don't want the neons to activate below them, I will turn that off. And now for the neon lights as well, you get to choose the transparency you want them to change to when they turn on. That is the default value is 0.011. And so that's just basically your light settings. Now in the colors, you get to configure your colors. These are the default colors for the vehicle, but you can go ahead and click on it and change it to whatever you want. I'm going to leave this the same in my case because I like these colors for the configurations I use. And then we also have light groups here, which I will go more over in the pattern video, but they are probably the most advanced feature in the plugin, and I really love light groups. It's really cool, and I will go over it in the next video. But basically, that's all you need to know for setting up your vehicle functions. I'm going to go ahead and export it onto the vehicle. Now, if you have been following up to this point, you're good to move on to the next video. But if you're here to learn about how to use your own pre-outfitted vehicle, for example, I have this vehicle that I have already outfitted myself, then you're going to want to stick around. So to use your own pre-outfitted vehicle, it's actually quite easy. Simply, all you're going to do is select your vehicle and then click Edit. When you do this, you will get a screen asking you to install Emergency Vehicle Handler, which is our new chassis plugin. And I'm going to go ahead and click Install because, of course, I'd like to install it. And you can see we get back to our blank slate, and we can go ahead and start with the tutorial on functions, which if you want to do that, you can go back to the previous section on the timeline down below. Now, sometimes you may encounter a bug like this. Of course, because this is an alpha, there are going to be bugs. So if you do encounter a bug, please make sure to report it on Discord. For now, I'm going to go ahead and manually reload the plugin. Okay, I'm back. I have manually reloaded the plugin because I have the power to do that. And I'm going to go ahead and show you now how to convert a version 2 to a version 3 vehicle. Now this vehicle I created on version 2 only a couple months ago, so I'm going to go ahead and use this to demonstrate. So when I click on this vehicle, it will obviously say selecting, and then you click edit, and what you'll get instead is you will get this pop-up that will ask you if you want to automatically update your vehicle instead of just install it. It will tell you to back up your vehicle before upgrading because some data loss may occur. Now this won't happen for your patterns itself, but the pattern activations may get lost in translation. Your module store will actually not be deleted. It will just be renamed, informing you that it's no longer used. So I'm going to click upgrade, and you will see it automatically upgrades. Now for this vehicle, it is quite simple. I only have a traffic advisor and stage lights on this vehicle. So there's not really much to convert here. But if I do go edit the vehicle, you'll see that the pattern actually also did actually get converted. And you also have all your lights here. Now that's interesting. This must be an error in my export, actually. That's kind of funny. But I'm going to go ahead and delete that. If you have any issues like that, you can just delete it. And of course, I'll go over the pattern creator in the next video. And I'm going to go ahead and export onto the vehicle. And just to demonstrate real fast, if you go into your old light bar, it'll be renamed to no longer use, kept as a backup module store. And so this is no longer used anymore. So you can delete it if everything converted properly. If it didn't convert properly, you can contact us on Discord to help you. That's all for this video. I will see you guys in the next tutorial. If you have any questions or concerns or anything like that, again, you can contact us on Discord in the YouTube comment section, and that's pretty much the only way. Please consider supporting us on Ko-fi. I'll leave a link down in the description. It really means a lot to us. We put a lot of time and effort into these products, and we create them completely for free. And not only that, but they are completely open source. So we really appreciate it if you consider donating. And that's all for this video. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye.